Ancient myths describe Viracocha emerging from the waters of Lake Titicaca to create the sun, moon, and stars. Welcome to Deca Rankings. If you want to know things, you're in the right place. The topic for today is Top 10 Most Powerful Inca Gods. High in the Andes Mountains, where eagles soar above cloud-wrapped peaks and ancient stones whisper secrets of the past, the Inca gods ruled over the most magnificent empire South America has ever known. These deities commanded the sun's blazing path, the mountains' hidden gold, and the sacred waters that brought life to terraced fields carved from impossible slopes. The Incas understood that their empire's glory depended on maintaining harmony with divine forces that controlled every aspect of existence from birth to death. Today we rank the 10 most powerful gods of Inca mythology, from the least to the most mighty. We will explore their sacred domains, divine powers, elaborate worship, and how their influence still flows through the spiritual traditions of the Andes today. Number 10. Cataquil. Cataquil, the fierce god of lightning and thunder, commanded the violent storms that could either destroy Inca crops or bring the life-giving rains, essential to high-altitude agriculture. His power was most feared and revered in the northern regions of the empire, where sudden mountain storms could unleash devastating lightning strikes that split rocks and started fires across the landscape. Ancient Inca warriors invoked his name before battle, believing that his lightning could strike down enemies and his thunder could inspire terror in opposing armies. He possessed the ability to communicate through omens written in lightning patterns, with priests studying storm formations to divine the will of the gods and predict future events. His worship required careful propitiation through offerings of gold, silver, and precious textiles that reflected the brilliance of his lightning bolts. Archaeological evidence suggests mountain shrines dedicated to Cataquil served as observation points, where priest astronomers studied weather patterns and attempted to predict seasonal changes. His influence was both creative and destructive, as his storms could devastate crops, but also brought the nitrogen-rich rains that fertilized high-altitude soil. Today, his power echoes in Andean beliefs about weather spirits, the sacred nature of mountain storms, and traditional practices for predicting and preparing for extreme weather events in the high Andes. Number 9. Urkagway. Urkagway, the god of underground treasures and buried wealth, controlled the precious metals and minerals hidden deep within the Andean mountains. His domain extended over gold, silver, and gemstones that formed the material wealth of the Inca Empire and adorned their greatest temples. Ancient Inca miners offered prayers and sacrifices to him before entering dangerous mine shafts, seeking his protection and permission to extract Earth's riches. He possessed the power to reveal or conceal mineral deposits, making his favor essential for successful mining operations throughout the empire. His worship involved underground ceremonies, offerings left in mine entrances, and rituals acknowledging that subterranean wealth belonged to divine forces. Today, his legacy continues in Andean mining traditions that honor the spiritual guardians of underground treasures and Earth's hidden resources. Number 8. Mama Sara. Mama Sara, the nurturing goddess of grain and corn, held the power of life itself in her hands as she determined the abundance or scarcity of the crops that fed the vast Inca Empire. Her domain extended over the sacred maize that was central to Inca civilization, from the golden corn reserved for religious ceremonies to the daily sustenance of millions of people throughout the empire. Ancient agricultural rituals honored her with the first fruits of every harvest, elaborate corn ceremonies, and sacred fields where perfect ears were grown exclusively for religious purposes. She possessed the wisdom of proper planting, cultivation, and storage techniques that allowed the Incas to feed their population despite the challenging mountain environment. Her worship involved complex ceremonies marking each stage of the agricultural cycle, from planting rituals that blessed the seeds to harvest festivals that thanked her for the year's abundance. Archaeological evidence includes elaborate granaries, ceremonial corn vessels, and agricultural terraces that demonstrated the sophisticated farming techniques developed under her divine guidance. Her influence extended beyond mere agriculture to encompass the spiritual nourishment that came from understanding humanity's sacred relationship with the plant world. Today, her legacy continues in Andean agricultural traditions, corn ceremonies, and the profound respect for maize as a sacred gift that connects indigenous communities to their ancestral wisdom and the divine sources of sustenance. Number 7. Mama Cocha. Mama Cocha, the vast goddess of the sea, lakes, and all waters, controlled the life-giving element that was essential to Inca agriculture and the spiritual purification of the empire. Her power flowed through every stream that cascaded down mountain slopes, every lake that reflected sky and stars, and the distant ocean that marked the western boundary of the known world. Ancient Inca ceremonies honored her with precious offerings thrown into sacred lakes, elaborate water rituals that marked important transitions, and pilgrimages to high-altitude lakes where her presence was most strongly felt. She possessed the ability to grant or withhold the rains that sustained terraced agriculture, making her favor essential to the survival of entire communities throughout the mountainous empire. Her worship was particularly important in coastal regions, where fishing communities depended on her benevolence for safe voyages and abundant catches. Archaeological evidence includes underwater offerings in Lake Titicaca, elaborate water channels that honored her sacred nature, and ceremonial pools where purification rituals connected worshippers to her divine essence. Her influence extended beyond physical water to encompass the spiritual cleansing that prepared individuals for important ceremonies and life transitions. Today, her power is still acknowledged in Andean water ceremonies, the sacred nature of mountain lakes, and traditional practices that honor water as a divine gift requiring protection and reverence. Number 6. Supe. Supe, the somber lord of death and ruler of the underworld, presided over the realm beneath the earth, where departed souls journeyed after their earthly existence ended. His dominion extended through vast underground caverns, mineral-rich mines, and the hidden passages that connected the world of the living to the realm of ancestors and spirits. Ancient Inca funeral rites acknowledged his authority through elaborate mummification processes, tomb offerings, and ceremonies designed to ensure safe passage for the deceased into his underground kingdom. He possessed the power to determine the fate of souls after death, judging their earthly deeds and assigning appropriate destinations in the complex geography of the afterlife. His worship required careful balance between respect and appeasement, as his favor could ensure peaceful death and ancestral protection, while his anger might bring premature death or troubled spirits. Archaeological evidence includes elaborate burial sites, underground temples, and mining ceremonies that honored his control over the earth's hidden treasures. His influence was both feared and essential, as the Incas understood that death was not an ending, but a transformation that required divine guidance to complete successfully. Today, his legacy survives in Andean beliefs about ancestor spirits, the sacred nature of burial sites, and traditional practices that honor the dead while seeking their continued protection and wisdom. Number 5. Mama Quilla. Mama Quilla, the silver moon goddess and divine protector of women, illuminated the Inca night sky with gentle light that guided feminine cycles, agricultural timing, and the sacred calendar that governed religious observances. As wife and sister to Inti the sun god, she represented the feminine principle that balanced solar masculine energy and ensured the cosmic harmony essential to imperial stability. Her power flowed through every aspect of women's lives, from the monthly cycles that connected earthly women to celestial rhythms to the pregnancy and childbirth processes that continued royal bloodlines. Ancient Inca women looked to her for protection during labor, guidance in domestic matters, and blessing for their roles as mothers, wives, and keepers of household religious traditions. Her worship involved elaborate silver offerings, nighttime ceremonies performed under her light, and lunar festivals that celebrated the feminine wisdom essential to maintaining social harmony. Archaeological evidence includes silver lunar discs, ceremonial mirrors that captured her light, and women's burial goods that honored her protective role throughout the feminine life cycle. Her influence extended beyond individual women to encompass the broader concept of cyclical time that governed agricultural seasons, religious festivals, and the natural rhythms that structured Inca society. Today, her legacy survives in Andean beliefs about lunar influence on planting and harvesting, women's ceremonies that honor feminine wisdom, and traditional practices that recognize the moon's power over fertility, intuition, and the sacred feminine aspects of existence. Number 4. Illapa. Illapa, the mighty god of thunder, lightning, and rain, commanded the dramatic storms that brought both terror and blessing to the high peaks of the Inca Empire. Depicted as a warrior carrying a war club and sling, he hurled lightning bolts from his celestial fortress and controlled the vital rains that sustained agriculture across the challenging Andean landscape. His power was essential to Inca civilization, as the empire's survival depended entirely on the seasonal rains he chose to send or withhold from the terraced fields carved into mountain slopes. Ancient ceremonies honored him with golden offerings, elaborate dances that mimicked thunder, and ritual battles that demonstrated human courage in the face of his overwhelming power. He possessed the ability to speak through thunder, with priests interpreting his messages to guide agricultural decisions, military campaigns, and religious observances throughout the empire. His worship was particularly intense during drought years, when desperate communities offered their most precious possessions to secure his life-giving rains. Archaeological evidence includes hilltop shrines designed to attract lightning, ceremonial weapons that honored his warrior aspect, and sophisticated water management systems that captured and distributed his rain gifts. Today, his influence continues in Andean weather ceremonies, traditional agricultural practices that follow seasonal patterns, and the profound respect for mountain storms as manifestations of divine power that must be honored and appeased. Number 3. Pachamama. Pachamama, the great Earth Mother and goddess of fertility and harvest, embodied the very foundation of Inca civilization as the living goddess who provided all sustenance and demanded proper reverence in return. Her vast body was the empire itself. Every mountain, valley, river, and field was part of her divine form, making the entire Inca territory a sacred landscape, requiring constant ritual attention. Ancient agricultural ceremonies honored her at every stage of the farming cycle, from planting rituals that blessed seeds placed in her soil to harvest festivals that thanked her for the year's abundance. She possessed the power to grant or withhold fertility from both the land and its people, making her favor essential to the survival of communities, the success of crops, and the continuation of family lines. Her worship was deeply personal and immediate, as every farmer who planted seeds, every woman who gave birth, and every person who ate food participated in direct relationship with her divine generosity. Archaeological evidence includes countless earth offerings, agricultural terraces that honored her sacred geography, and burial practices that returned the dead to her nurturing embrace. Her influence permeated every aspect of Inca life, from the imperial ideology that claimed divine mandate to rule her territory to the individual prayers offered before every meal. Today, she remains one of the most actively worshipped deities in Andean culture, honored through ongoing ceremonies, agricultural rituals, and environmental protection efforts that recognize the earth as a living, sacred being deserving respect and care. Number 2. Inti. Inti, the magnificent sun god and divine ancestor of Inca rulers, blazed across the sky as the most visible and powerful deity in the Inca pantheon, providing the light, warmth, and energy that sustained all life throughout the empire. As the divine father of the Inca royal family, he legitimized imperial authority and established the sacred bloodline that connected earthly rulers to celestial power. His golden disc dominated the most important temple in Cusco, surrounded by walls covered in gold that reflected his radiance and demonstrated the empire's devotion to his divine majesty. Ancient ceremonies in his honor included the magnificent Inti festival, where thousands of participants celebrated the winter solstice with elaborate rituals, sacrifices, and demonstrations of imperial power. He possessed absolute authority over the passage of days, seasons, and years, with his daily journey across the sky marking the rhythm of life for millions of people throughout the Andes. His worship required the most precious offerings the empire could provide: gold, silver, fine textiles, and occasionally human sacrifices reserved for the most critical moments in imperial history. Archaeological evidence includes the incredible Coricancha temple complex, solar observation platforms that tracked his movements, and countless golden ornaments that honored his divine radiance. Today, his influence continues in Andean solar ceremonies, agricultural practices that follow seasonal patterns, and the profound respect for the sun as the source of all life and energy that sustains both physical and spiritual existence. Number 1. Viracocha. Viracocha, the supreme creator god and lord instructor of the world, wielded the ultimate power of creation itself, having shaped the universe, formed the first humans, and established the cosmic order that governed all existence in the Inca world. Ancient myths describe him emerging from the waters of Lake Titicaca to create the sun, moon, and stars, then forming human beings from stone and breathing life into them before teaching them the arts of civilization. His power transcended all other deities, as he was the source from which all divine authority flowed and the ultimate judge who could unmake what he had created if humanity failed to live according to his divine laws. He possessed the ability to appear in any form, travel instantly across vast distances, and command the obedience of all other gods, spirits, and natural forces throughout the empire. His worship was reserved for the highest levels of Inca society, with the emperor himself serving as his primary earthly representative, and ordinary people approaching him only through elaborate hierarchies of priests and nobles. Archaeological evidence includes the most sacred temples, creation myths carved in stone, and royal ceremonies that acknowledged his ultimate authority over imperial destiny. His influence shaped every aspect of Inca religious thought, from creation stories that explained the origins of humanity to prophecies about the empire's ultimate fate under divine judgment. Today, his legacy survives in Andean creation stories. The concept of a supreme creator deity that transcends all other spiritual forces and traditional beliefs about humanity's responsibility to maintain proper relationship with the divine powers that shaped and sustain the world. These Inca gods embodied the magnificent power and sophisticated spirituality of an empire that transformed the Andes into humanity's highest civilization. Their divine authority flowed through golden temples, terraced mountainsides, and sacred ceremonies that maintained the cosmic harmony essential to imperial success. Though Spanish conquest shattered their empire, their spiritual essence endures in the living traditions of Andean peoples who continue to honor Pachamama, celebrate Inti, and maintain the sacred relationship between humanity and the divine forces that govern our world. From the snow-capped peaks where condors soar to the ancient stones that still whisper their names, these gods remind us that true power comes from understanding our place in the sacred order of creation. Like this video, and subscribe to Deca Rankings for more videos like this.